Hey up guys, so today I'm going to be reviewing one of my favourite Sandra Bullock movies. Can you guess what it is? Yep, today I'm going to be reviewing The Blind Side. Wait, it's not called The Blind Side? What's this movie called?
Bird Box.
Bird Box? That can't be right. Am I even looking at the camera right now? I know Sandra Bullock managed to go down the Whitewall Rapids with a blindfold on, but I don't think I can even do a movie review with this blindfold on. God, I put it on my head super tight. Yo, oh God, that light is bright when you've had a blindfold on for 5 minutes. So today I'm going to be talking about the newest film that dropped on Netflix a few days ago by Susanne Bier, and it's called Bird Box. You guys might be familiar with Susanne Bier's work. She directed all 6 of the episodes of the amazing TV series The Night Manager, but she's also had a few stinkers. If anybody's seen the Jennifer Lawrence movie Serena, it is just awful. This film, Bird Box, is an adaptation of the novel of the same name by Josh Malerman, and it's been adapted by Eric Heiserer, who was the guy that wrote the screenplay for Arrival. The plot of Bird Box is set 5 years after a worldwide disaster, and it kind of reminded me of that terrible M. Night Shyamalan film, The Happening, you know, with the plants that release those toxins that cause everybody to commit suicide. Thankfully, Bird Box is a much better film than The Happening, but it does share a similar trait of people committing suicide after they're exposed to something. This time, it's not pathological or viral, it's some sort of ominous presence which, once you see it, it causes you to commit suicide. Anyway, if you're blindfolded and don't make direct eye contact with whatever this presence is, you can survive in this world. It's kind of like Medusa, don't look directly at it or you'll turn to stone, but in this film, if you look directly at it, you'll throw yourself in front of a bus or off a building. This film is set in America about 5 years after the outbreak, and our central protagonist is a woman called Mallory, who's played by Sandra Bullock, and she's trying to get herself and 2 children to this safe compound where there might be some salvation for them. However, the fastest route to get to this compound is down this river, which is full of rapids. And you can imagine that presents itself with a few challenges where they're in a world where they have to be blindfolded every time they go outside. I said to myself before I made this video, I would do this whole video with a blindfold on, but I couldn't even do that, so you can imagine how challenging it would be to go down Whitewater Rapids with no sight whatsoever. From the opening scene, it's very evident in Sandra Bullock's performance that the character of Mallory is very damaged and that she has been through a lot. The fact that she refers to the children as boy and girl is a big indicator that she doesn't allow herself to get too attached to people, because she's obviously lost a lot of people along the way. She is brutal with these children. She's more of an army leader than a maternal figure for them. And this film jumps back and forth between Mallory and the kids in this boat making their journey towards the compound and the events of what happened over the last 5 years to Mallory. When we first see the first flashback, she is pregnant, but she's also an artist, and her artwork seems to reflect this idea that she has trouble connecting with people, which is something that pretty much everybody has felt at some point or another in their life. But how are you supposed to navigate a post-apocalyptic situation without the ability to connect with people? Yes, this is a disaster story, and it's also a sci-fi horror, but it's also a personal story about a woman longing for connection and the arduous journey she takes to find it. To say it's a bit of a bumpy ride when this film actually sees Sandra Bullock going down a bunch of bumpy rapids is a little bit on the nose, but I really enjoyed Bird Box. The concept was simple, a little bit like A Quiet Place, but instead of the characters not being able to make any noise, instead this time the characters are unable to see anything. More sensory deprivation, which is just really exciting and really tense, because every time a character came so close to locking eyes on this ominous presence or almost lifted their blindfold up to see, I was just getting so nervous. I should have actually had a blindfold when I was watching this, because there were so many moments where I was like this and I was like, no, don't look, don't look, don't look. Bier's direction is great. She very wisely chose not to have a big reveal of whatever it was that was causing everybody to kill themselves. Really, what you don't see is scarier, because it festers in your imagination as something much worse than whatever any person can put on screen. You stew in your own anxieties, and Bier lets you feel the tension because she's playing off your own fears. The reason this feels so uneasy to watch is because it feels like we're living it. We feel like we're in the film with these characters, and if we look directly at whatever it is, we're gonna kill ourselves. Because we don't actually see with our own eyes whatever this creature or presence is that's killing everybody. It makes us as the audience feel like we are part of the epidemic and that we are surviving. That is incredible. What's even more amazing about this film though is that even though it is a horror, Suzanne Bier doesn't rely on dark, chilling cinematography in order to make you feel uneasy. She and cinematographer Salvatore Totino set most of the scariest scenes in this in the harsh light of day. There's no dark jump scares or loud jump cuts. The horror of this film is all psychological, and even though it's all shot in the daytime, it's some of the best horror I've seen all year. Also, acting-wise, there is a great lineup of talent. Obviously, Sandra Bullock brings it. There are so many layers to Mallory. Each time we go to a flashback to the past, we learn a little bit more about her, and it just adds another layer to her. Her relationship to fellow survivor Tom, who's played by Travante Rhodes, is what allows her character to let her tough walls down and start to let people in. Travante Rhodes, who you guys might recognize as the oldest version of Chiron from Moonlight, is fantastic here. John Malkovich is in this and he plays the token asshole. There's always one in a film like this, someone who stirs the pot and riles people up the wrong way and just has the completely wrong attitude in a post-apocalyptic situation. And yeah, John Malkovich does a great job there. There's also great performances from Tom Hollander, Danielle Macdonald, and Sarah Paulson. But Jacki Weaver and DB Wong's characters were very forgettable, and I'll say Lil Rel Harvey played pretty much the exact same character that he played in Get Out. I'd like to see him do more than just comic relief supporting character. As for the negatives of this film, there were a few things that left me scratching my head. Like, the boy and girl characters in this film have grown up in a world where they can't go outside without a blindfold, but they're able to swim when they go down these rapids. I'm like, when did they learn how to swim? That's interesting. It is just a minor plot hole, but it's something that could have easily explained in just a throwaway bit of dialogue that Sandra Bullock would have said, like, if you fall out of the boat, you know how to swim, do this. And that way I wouldn't be questioning it. And the ending of this film was a bit predictable. It wasn't hard to figure out in a world where you can't see where salvation would be for these characters. It was kind of obvious. And I guess I would like a little bit more information on the characters that when they were exposed to this presence, they didn't commit suicide, they just kind of went a bit crazy and they loved looking at it. I don't understand why those characters didn't commit suicide. There were the exceptions to the rule, but there was no real explanation for it. So I was like, okay, a little clarity would have been nice. Right, so it's time to ask those 3 questions. Would I watch this again? Definitely. I really enjoyed this film. It's some of the best horror I've seen all year. I felt nervous all the way through. It had a physiological reaction when I was trying to stop myself from looking at the screen. It was that good. Simple story, but very well executed. Would I recommend it for you guys? Definitely watch it. Add it to your must-watch list on Netflix, okay guys? It is a terrific film. And what score am I going to give it out of 10? I really enjoyed this film. There are a few things that I took a little bit of issue with, so I'm going to say Bird Box gets a score of 8 out of 10. There you go, guys. Those are my thoughts on Bird Box, but I'd love to know, what did you guys think of Bird Box? Do you think this is the best film that's come out on Netflix? Actually, that's my quick question for you guys today. What is your favorite Netflix original film? Whatever you think, be sure to let me know in that comment section below. If you guys do like this content, please don't forget to click subscribe. And if you guys want to follow us on Twitter or Instagram, all that info in the description, alright? Thank you so much for watching, guys. For more things related to movies, TV, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Hearfield, and I'll see you next time.